This podcast is sponsored by the Fireman Moving Company. The Fireman Moving Company is the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you're looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. All right, welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast. We are your number one source for WKU sports news and information, and we're a proud member of the College Huddle podcast community. As always, make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms, pretty much on all of them. Just search Topper Talk. Our primary one being X or Twitter, whatever you call it. That's where you're going to find daily news and information and updates in real time as it happens. Then slide over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed there and get notifications when every new episode drops every single week. Got Tyler here with me, man. We've got another position group breakdown to jump into, man. You ready?
As always, man, let's do it.
But before we dive into the tight ends this week, we have to get caught up with our Red Towel wrap up, which catches us up with all the news and information we've listed since we've last recorded. So, Tyler, hit us with that Red Towel wrap up.
All right, so coming out strong, former WKU pitcher Trayson Peters signed with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sounds kind of like a tongue twister in and of itself, but at least he got signed to the MLB, baby.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Trayson. Congratulations. And he is officially the newest hashtag Pro Tops. So big congratulations to Trayson.
Sticking with baseball, the baseball team announced an exhibition game versus Louisville Slugger Warriors set for October 11th at 1 p.m.
Yeah, I saw this announced earlier today. And I think it's cool. One, it's cool to have a fall game. Usually we do some exhibition or some inter team scrimmage type games that you can go watch or enjoy. But this one's neat to have a Louisville Slugger game lined up. I'm not really sure if we have a full lineup right now, a full roster of players. I know we've been piecing that together over the last few weeks. I haven't really done a roster tracker to see how full we are, but I know we lost a lot of position players and a lot of pitchers. So hopefully that will still continue to come together. We've only got 2 or 3 weeks before school starts, and obviously that needs to be figured out. But looking forward to some fall ball here at on the hill.
Now, sticking with some news for WKU basketball team, they got a commitment from Cole Edelin, which is brother to Jack.
Yeah, always good news to get a commitment for any of our sports, but this one, it kind of, I don't know, just holds a little bit of a special spot. It's, especially since it's the younger brother of junior guard Jack. He is a class of 2026 commitment, so he still has his senior year of basketball to play in high school up there at Louisville Male, where they were teammates just a few years ago when Jack was a junior, and his senior year they were teammates. So looking forward to that. He's a 6'2" shooting guard or can play the point guard. He's got a good looking shot. If you haven't watched any film or clips of him playing, like, he is a pure shooter. He's a smart player. He's confident. And it's going to be really cool to see him and Jack at some point on the floor together again when we get to next basketball season. So welcome to the Hill, Cole.
And then WKU Director of Athletics Todd Stewart spoke with the media day. He shared some upcoming dates. October 14th, they are honoring the Conference USA Hall of Fame inductees Travis Hudson, Jessica Lucas, and Brandon Dowdy during the FIU game. On October 15th, Topper Fieldhouse will be opening. And then November 8th, they will be unveiling the Travis Hudson statue.
Yeah, there was a lot of good information and just stuff shared in this media availability that Todd Stewart had earlier today. Definitely worth the listen. It's on WKU Sports YouTube. If you haven't seen it, they also shared it on their X or Twitter account. It's a 28-minute clip, a little bit long, I guess, but if you got time to watch it, there's a lot of good stuff in there. He talks about, the realignment stuff that recently just happened. He talked about the Topper Fieldhouse, NIL revenue share, just all the stuff going on at Western Kentucky. It was really cool to hear about. Then obviously these 3 dates that he shared, honoring some WKU legends. I have to assume that Brandon Dowdy will be on campus for that. I'm assuming that's been lined up, so that will be awesome to have him back on the hill for that midweek game with FIU. And then obviously the Topper Fieldhouse we know is getting closer and closer to opening. He even mentioned, um, even though it's officially opening on the 15th, that the football team can likely get in there and start using it before then. But it will have a grand opening ceremony for that. And then during volleyball season, I think it's a game versus Delaware on a Saturday. If I looked at the schedule correctly, that game on November 8th, they'll be unveiling that Travis Hudson statue, which will also obviously be just an awesome recognition for Coach Hudson and just all he's accomplished here. Just really looking forward to seeing that and getting to witness that on campus because he definitely deserved it. Been saying it for a long time. Build the statue. It's even go look at my pinned tweet on my personal Twitter account. From years ago. It says build the statue, and it's finally happening, man. Congrats to all of them.
And that concludes this week's episode of the Red Towel Wrap Up. Moff, back to you.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff in there. Obviously we're getting to the tail end of summer, which means that some sports are about to start kicking off. We've got soccer and volleyball and football kind of all staring at us, ready to start. Conference USA just had their media day and kickoff earlier this week as we're recording. And we're getting to practically the end of our position breakdown series. We're now on the tight ends. That just leaves us with wide receivers after this next week. And then we'll have our season preview and predictions. And then that week 1 preview leading up to the August 23rd, week 0 game with Sam Houston. But this week we are continuing with the position breakdown series. We're talking about tight ends. Now, normally we have a position group ranking via Phil Steele, our trusted college football Bible. But this week, technically, we don't have a position ranking because Phil Steele blends the tight ends with the wide receivers in his rankings. Now, if we were looking at that, he has our wide receiver group ranked as number 1 in the conference. I think tied with, I want to say UTEP off the top of my head, but we don't have an official ranking for the tight ends. But if you want to lean on something, he has our receiving group ranked number 1. So that's what we'll lean on as we dive into this. So first of all, we have to talk about the tight ends that we lost from last year's roster before we can talk about who we have on this year's roster. And you have to start with tight end River Helms, who entered the transfer portal after the season and ultimately committed to Georgia Southern. Then we also had tight end CJ Kiss, who retired from football. And then we had Elvin Fofana, who ran out of eligibility. And then Trevor Borland, who also exhausted his eligibility. So Tyler, talk to me about these guys that we lost from last year's roster and what that might mean going forward.
All right, so last season, River Helms season got cut a little short. He had an injury and he had to sit out. The rest of the season, I can't remember what week he got hurt on, but I know it was probably around midweek, maybe early to mid. But last year he was on the 2024 Phil Steele. He's on the postseason conference. You say all season or all conference second team. He was on the Phil Steele preseason all conference fourth team, and then he was on the 2024 Athlon Sports preseason all conference USA third team. Looking at his stats, he had 19 receptions, 228 yards last year. He averaged 12 yards per catch and 3 touchdowns. Averaged about 33 yards per catch. River Helms, he was very active. His years here, and he left a big hole that's going to have to be filled because Western has a strong history of tight ends. Kind of like that big man dominance has always been here. Moving on to CJ Kiss, he got hurt and he ended up retiring. I hate that because I'd like seeing him play some more. Elvin, with his eligibility, last season I think he only had like 2 catches. I think for 9 yards total. but he was good at blocking. And then Trevor Borland came down here from Buffalo last season. He only had 2 catches, but they were both touchdowns. Um, but he was used primarily as a blocking tight end as well. But I remember when Trevor scored that first touchdown, he talked about how it's been like a few years since he had touchdowns. So it was pretty cool for him to do that. But um, you know, I think our tight end position's in good hands with who's left and who we're going to talk about. But definitely going to be hard to fill the hole that River Helms left because he was such an active. He was a very trustworthy tight end.
Yeah, you really hate to lose a good one like River, and it's a byproduct of the transfer portal era that we live in now. It's hard to not to get attached to a player, and then when they ultimately decide to leave for whatever reason that is, we obviously have had a lot of players leave since the transfer portal became in existence, but we also have been the benefactor of a lot of players transferring in. So it's that double-edged sword, man. You hate to lose a player of the caliber of River Helms, but at the same time, without that transfer portal, we don't bring in some of the all-time greats that we've had here at Western Kentucky. I think another interesting footnote is if you follow any of these guys on social media, one of them to follow is Elfin Fofana, and you and I were talking before we start recording about college football 26. He is a very active streamer playing college football. So if you don't follow him, I'm sure he's on Twitch or YouTube or any of those streaming and sharing platforms where you can watch him play. I would bet he's pretty good, knowing our playbook and just being a college football player in general. I bet he has a little leg up on just some of us casual fans. But I know I've watched him play a couple times. It's always interesting, even though I don't make time for myself to play. But just an interesting footnote if you want to keep up with these guys as they've moved on from playing for us. I think that's a neat thing to do. Looking at some of these guys we have returning, and there's only a couple of them, but we have Noah Myers. He's number 81 on the roster. He is a redshirt sophomore. He is 6'5" and 238 pounds. Then we also have Aiden Miller, number 88. He is a sophomore. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. So Tyler, what about these guys returning before we talk about the guys we added to the roster?
All right, so Noah Myers came in and kind of took over when River got hurt. Noah has 7 receptions last season for 123 yards, 1 touchdown. He averages basically 24 yards per carry or per catch. I feel like he's going to grow into a good tight end, and I'm excited to see how he developed during the off season and during spring and fall and summer camps. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do this fall. Aiden Miller, he's a redshirt sophomore, just same as Noah is. But Aiden ain't really had much playing time or much field time really during his time at WKU. But so I'm excited for Noah, and maybe Aiden will see the field this year sometime.
Yeah, guys like Aiden, sometimes it's hard to break through on the depth chart, but he might be one of those guys that has to carve out his time on special teams and, prove that he can get onto the field, and then maybe injury or circumstance or whatever happens, you kind of always have to be ready next man up. So, but definitely excited for Noah and kind of what you said. He kind of got a chance last year due to injury, unfortunately, but he kind of made the most of it in that little short window of time. So excited about that. Looking at some of the guys we added to the roster this year. First off, we added Jackson West. He's number 85 on the roster. He's a redshirt senior. He's 6'4", 235 pounds. He transferred in from Florida State. We added Justin Wolf. He's number 86 on the roster, also a redshirt senior, 6'4", 245 pounds. He transferred in from Kansas State. And then lastly, we added Cross Nemo. He's number 89 on the roster. He is a true freshman, 6'5", 249 pounds. So Tyler, what about this trio of guys we added to the roster? What are you expecting?
All right, so starting off with Jackson West, he played 4 seasons at FSU. He appeared in 24 games over the 2023 and 2024 seasons. He was primarily on special teams, but he was on the All ACC academic team and the ACC honor roll, and he was listed as Florida State's most improved player in 2023. I mean, you can't be at a P4 program for 4 years and not be good. And I think we're gonna have a good one in Jackson West when if and when he does see the field. Um, and then Justin Wolf, he spent the 2024 season at K State. He did not see any actions with the Wildcats, but he did start his career at FCS Wagner. He was there for 4 seasons, appeared in 21 games. He totaled 7 catches, 55 yards, and 1 touchdown while at Wagner. Um, but I still, he knows how to work, and he had to do something for K State to recognize him and want to bring him onto the team. So surely they saw something on tape, and then we're going to get him. And I feel like our coaches have a good eye for players, and they know that Justin's going to definitely help the team out. So I'm excited for them too. Then Cross, coming in as a true freshman, he was considered a 3-star prospect by ESPN, 24/7 Sports, and On3, and a 2-star prospect by Rivals. ESPN rated Nemo as the number 11 player at his position and the number 23 player in Ohio. As a senior, he posted 530 yards and 4 touchdowns on 33 receptions. So I feel like I'm sorry, I just looked at his picture. But I feel like if he sticks around, he's going to grow into a pretty good player. He's already got that size 6'5". And if he bulks up, he's going to be sitting behind some pretty good tight ends. So at least he'll be able to learn from them and watch them, and study the games and study the playbooks. I feel like he's going to be a heck of a player here in the future.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you that the first couple guys, Jackson and Justin, they each didn't have a lot of playing time. There's not a lot of film, not a lot of stats for them. But I kind of agree with you what you said about Jackson West. You don't go to Florida State for 4 years if you're not a pretty good football player. So I think between him and Justin Wolf, even being at K State, I think we've got a diamond in the rough somewhere. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know who's going to get the bigger opportunity. Those guys have to earn that as we have fall camp starting real soon, earn that opportunity to get on the field and make the most of their opportunity. But I think both or either of those guys could end up being contributors to this team, whether it's in the passing game or, being run blocking tight ends, whatever is asked of them. I think, those guys are definitely going to add value to the roster and to the team. And I'm excited to have them. Now, the projected starter for this unit, the tight end, is going to be Noah Myers, the returning redshirt sophomore. We talked about him earlier. Getting that opportunity when River went down with injury last year, and obviously the tight end position, I think at Western Kentucky is one that we historically have funneled a lot of talent into the NFL with, but recently it feels like we haven't used the tight end position as much as we have since like the Josh Simons of the world before he transferred out. Even River Helms, yeah, I don't think that played into why he transferred, but it just didn't feel like we've always used that tight end or even the slot receivers over the middle of the field as much as we have in years past. So, but I still think that Noah Myers is going to be a heck of a tight end for us. He filled in admirably last year under tough circumstances coming in, due to injury to River, and had a pretty good season. And now he's going to get a full season, come in as game one, the projected starter. Got good size already, 6'5", 238. He's already shown he can catch the ball. Really now it's just about putting in the work, getting out there, getting open, or just doing whatever is asked of you. And we know in this offense, with Rick Bowie and Maverick McIver, that we're going to throw the ball around. So really it's just about maximizing your opportunities, getting open, making yourself visible, then catch the ball. And I have a feeling that we've got a good one and he's going to have a good season. Not foreshadowing my bold prediction, but who knows? So Tyler, let's jump into those 4 questions we ask of every position. Who is going to be the hardest to replace in the tight end room from last year?
I think this one, it's no question. It's going to be River Helms. Is going to be the hardest to replace.
Yeah, it's definitely River Helms. He was one of those players that was just a good kid. Liked having him here on campus. He was one of our highest rated recruits ever at Western Kentucky. I remember when he committed, looking that up. I want to say he was like in our top 2 or 3 highest high school commits ever at Western Kentucky. So I was always excited for what he could develop into if he stayed the course and finished his career at Western Kentucky. But obviously, that didn't come to fruition, injuries and transfer portal, and it is what it is. But I think it's pretty safe to say that River Helms will be the toughest to replace from last year. Who is going to be your breakout player for this year in the tight end room?
I think tight end is going to be Jackson West. Um, I'm excited to see what he's bringing to the Hill from FSU. And I'm just expecting a lot from him whenever he gets out there on the field.
I'm trying not to go to the easy route, but I don't want to give Noah Myers credit for breaking out last year, even though he had a good year, but it was just a partial year, and I still don't think he's somebody that defenses are necessarily drawing up and being like, okay, we got to stop this guy because we've got several guys out on the boundary that you probably need to focus on, especially in our offense. But I think it's going to be Noah Myers. I think he's going to have a really good season. I think he's going to be the leader in the clubhouse. He's going to get the lion's share of the targets for the tight end position. And I think that's just going to lead to him being the obvious breakout player. Even though, like you said, I think a player like Jackson West, I think he could be that surprise tight end too. I don't want to say gimmicky, gadgety type player, but even I remember when Dalvin first came here, he was a tight end before he transitioned to wide receiver. They put him in. I think 6 of his first 7 catches were touchdowns. That could be Jackson West. Who knows? I think we definitely have that possibility with some of these athletes, some of these guys that we have on the roster. But I'm going with Noah Myers. I think he's going to break out and have a really good season. And who have you got for your MVP in the tight end room this year?
Well, I'm going to go with Noah Myers on this one. As you said, he had a partial season last year, and we saw what he did. And I'm only going to expect him to expand on that. And I just feel like this is going to be his year, and I think my bold prediction is going to exemplify that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think my MVP is also Noah Myers, and really it's more of the fact that he's the known entity in the offense. He knows the offense better. He knows the system better. Even with the new offensive coordinator, new quarterback, there's still going to be a lot of similarities and a lot of things that aren't changing. Even though there's going to be some new wrinkles that Rick Bowie and Maverick bring over from Abilene Christian. I think that's going to give him a leg up, obviously. And being the starting tight end from day one, more than likely, is going to give him a leg up. And he's just going to get that opportunity to shine the most. And I think, with his size and with his, short history and sample size that we have on him already, I think it's hard to argue against him being the MVP of the tight end room. So also give me Noah Myers as the MVP of the tight end group. All right. To the bold prediction, Tyler. What have you got? What is your bold prediction for the tight ends this year?
All right, so I got on my little crystal ball earlier today, and I was asking it questions, and I kind of shades of dare I say Jack Doyle in Noah Myers, and Jack Doyle his sophomore year had 20 receptions, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he only started 7 games because he was injured and he had to sit out some. Fast forward to his junior year, Jack had 52 receptions, 614 yards. I'm going to say Noah Myers this year is going to have 48 receptions, 667 yards, and he's going to be named to the All Conference USA first team. So that's my bold prediction. I feel like he's going to have a heck of a year. Like I said, I'm just really excited to see what he's going to do.
I'm not mad at you. My bold prediction is of the same caliber. I think Noah Myers is going to have a really productive season. I didn't necessarily put numbers on it, as far as receptions and yards, but I think he'll have the best tight end production season that we've seen since. I'd have to go back to Josh Simon before he retired or before he transferred out. So that he would have to push 400 or 500 receiving yards in the season, which in an offense like ours as a tight end, that's a lot. You had him 48 receptions. That's 4 receptions a game, 600 yards. I mean, that's 50 plus yards a game. That's a lot. That's a bold take, and I like it. And I think I'm right there with you. I think as many targets as are going to be spread around, I think he's going to make the most of them, and I think he's going to be the most productive tight end we've seen since Josh Simon of what was that 3-4 years ago since we had Simon here, and River Helms has been pretty dang good over the last couple of years. So I think that's saying a lot that even though we lost a really good guy to Georgia Southern, I think we got a guy behind him that's ready to step up and play and going to be really productive. So I think two of us, we've got a lot of faith in Noah, man. No pressure. If you're listening, we know you are. No pressure, buddy. You got this. You're going to have a great season. But that does conclude another episode of the Position Breakdown series. Like I mentioned earlier in the opener, man, it's crazy that we're getting through the summer. As we record today, it's July 23rd. Obviously, this episode won't be out till early next week. But as we record today, we are exactly 1 month from the first game of the season, from week 0, August 23rd, 6 p.m. kickoff against Sam Houston at home. It's kind of crazy to already be just a month away. So we've just got one more position, season predictions, and then we're doing a week 1 or week 0, week 1, whatever you want to call it, preview episode. So it's kind of crazy that this summer's flown by. Talking about again another position group that a lot of new faces. That seems to be the common theme when you look across the roster. Is that there's a lot of new pieces, but this coaching staff just has to start putting that puzzle together. And talked about earlier, fall camp starting back now. CSA media days is over. Talking season, as they call it, all the preseason list and power polls and just all the stuff the media likes to talk about. That time is about to be done. It's about to be time to kick off, smack pads, and play some football. And man, I can't wait. I'm ready for it. We'll definitely be either at the house or glued to the TV, just watching games all day. Definitely looking forward to it. But man, Tyler, hit us with your final words and take us on out of here.
Yeah, I hope everybody's staying cool. Right now in the dog days of summer, it's miserable out there. No wind blowing, just going out standing and sweating. It just kind of gives you a little more respect for what these players are having to go through all day, every day. But it is crazy. Summer is just about over, and football season is about to begin. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. So yeah, go Tops. Moff, who has it better than us, man?
Nobody, buddy. You know it.
Go Tops.
Go Tops. Later, guys.
See y'all.